Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome to the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben. Wait, try that again. My bad. 1 second. Okay, go.
Well, I'm your co-host, Carissa.
Perfect. It was better the first time, everyone, I promise you, but it's okay. Everyone, welcome to today's program. It's going to be great. So today on the show, we have a full hour with the one, the only, Darius Derek-Shani. He is our CGI expert, our graphics expert, and really kind of our hardware expert. He's probably the one that we talk to the most about computer hardware in general. But, you know, he does, he teaches modeling and, you know, design and that kind of thing. Just anything with graphics, this is the guy to talk to. So we're really happy to have him, and we'll be getting to Darius in just a moment. But before we do that, computeramerica.com, that is where you'll find everything, past shows, future shows, videos, audio, podcasts, articles, reviews, social media links, puppies. I don't know. You'll find everything there that you could possibly ever want. Computeramerica.com. It will even help you lose 15 pounds and improve your love life. Good luck with that. So, everyone, today, why don't, Carissa, unless actually, I do have one more thing, Carissa, before we get started, and I just have to say, it's a sign of the times. I've already cleared the notification. I got a phone call from a random number that I never pick up, and for the first time ever, on iOS, if you don't interact with a certain application enough, you know, like they'll send you notifications, and if you don't click on it or interact with it whatsoever, it will say, hey, do you want to manage notifications? Because clearly, you know, you have skipped the past 100 notifications. Maybe you should just turn it off by default. For the first time ever, iOS said, hey, this application on your phone, it's called Phone, you never interact with it. Would you like to turn off notifications from your phone? Yeah.
Nice.
I guess the idea that the iPhone is a phone is a little passé because, hey, you know, I use it for everything but apparently. That was funny. That just happened.
It's just part of the name. Phone is just in the name. They don't actually use it.
It's branding. That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, it's branding. Just branding.
There you go. So, yeah, there you go, everyone. And again, that happened like 10 minutes before the show, and that doesn't even matter.
I wish my phone would ask me that.
Well, hey, go into the settings. You can mute everything and everyone, and you can live a very blissful, lonely life. So, everyone, Carissa, one more chance. Anything to announce? Anything? Or we good to go?
No, we're good to go.
All right, perfect. So everyone, let's go ahead and get started with today's program by bringing on our correspondent. He's been a long-time correspondent here on the program. If I wish I knew, I want to say 2 or 3 years now. It's been quite a while, but we love having him on the program, and he's the one, the only Darius Derek-Shani. Darius, how you doing?
I'm good. I just want to correct you when you said the one and the only. There are actually two of me, and I'm still looking for the other one right now. Just all cards on the table here.
everyone.
I mean, it's fair. They do get away sometimes.
If you see anyone out there that looks like Darius Derekshani, grab them on the street, give us a call, hold them in place, don't let them go, and please let us know.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, dial in immediately.
Great.
So how are you? Always good to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're doing good. It's been it's been an interesting week. Yesterday's show was kind of heavy, so I'm looking forward to a show that we kind of keep it fun and energetic. So I will say that one thing that we didn't cover this week, I know that Craig, he's like, hey, Ben, you really need to watch this. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't really care all that much about Apple. I use the iPhone, but I don't care that much about Apple. But I recognize that people do. So I figured, hey, we'll cover it on today's program. That will be one of our topics. And and so unless there's anything else that we need to mention, Darius, you actually obviously your day job, you teach and you work on projects and various things in Hollywood and things like that. Yep. First things first, we asked this of our correspondent who lives in Oregon. How are you? Are you okay with the fire? Everything,
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. It's smoky out, but I mean, it is what it is, but we're safe. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we've been keeping an eye on that from the news, and the way that they have it. The West Coast is a complete loss. They're just going to tape it off, and everyone's just going to move back east. That's
just fence it off and turn it into a giant parking lot.
Yeah, pretty much. Nature's taking care of it, though. Nature's doing the heavy lifting. Now, so there's that. Let's start with a couple of these topics that we have here, and let's go ahead and start with this one, if you don't mind. There is this first article, and I just wanted to bring this up because I have seen a number of different places. I honestly thought that people do this, and I don't want to say that they're stupid because they're just misinformed. And I thought that Apple and whoever's running the PR campaign for this, because no legal battle is just held in the courts anymore, it has to be the court of public opinion. I thought that the people over at Apple would at least be smart enough about this that they wouldn't fall into the same trap I've seen other people do. And this is using Google Trends as a way to back up your argument. So this is a complete aside. This is just some stupidity that I wanted to kind of address before we, kind of got started. But I did just want to say that. So the heart and soul of this article is that Fortnite and Apple, they're in a tiff. Darius, have you heard about this?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm actually
Apple and Epic.
Apple and Epic, no, I've definitely heard about it. It's a little bit concerning because there are so many creative voices and creative forces that use Apple that it, I think, jeopardizes a little bit, because one of Epic's big things is the Unreal Engine, and it's making a lot of headway in many ways with virtual production in my line of work, and I think. Maybe there's some posturing, maybe it's a lot of politics and marketing and stuff like that, but I don't understand the pure core of it. I think it has to do with in-app purchases and like skirting around. And
Apple has applied pressure to other companies before Epic, although not many companies have the wherewithal that Epic does. But yeah, it's essentially and other companies, they let them do it just because that's how they started. One famous case would be, take for instance Netflix. Netflix was a service. You paid them $9 a month, whatever, and then they came out with an iOS app. And if you want to have a subscription to Netflix, you don't have to go through the Apple iOS store. If you do, Apple gets their 30% cut. If you don't, Netflix gets it all, but Apple does not refuse service. That same argument is kind of what Epic is pushing here, whereas they wanted to take their app for iOS, which is the most popular way that people are playing Fortnite, which is one of their huge games, and they wanted to direct people in the app. They said, instead of paying through Apple, paying through iOS and the iTunes, or not iTunes, I can't say that anymore, but through the iOS store, pay us through our website and our web portal, and we'll give you the stuff for free. Essentially, they wanted to work around Apple instead of working with Apple. Apple retaliated by taking down their app and then revoking their credentials so that they couldn't develop on iOS anymore, so on and so forth. And it became a tit for tat before, hey, now we have a full-blown legal battle that Apple says they can't work around us. It's in our terms of service if they want to be in the App Store. They claim it's to protect consumers, that if any dispute happens whatsoever, Apple is immediately able to refund the user's money, and then they take it up with Apple and Epic. But Epic sees it as, hey, there is zero competition. We have no other choice. This is racketeering. We have to pay the 30%. It's almost highway robbery, what you're doing. And that's really the soul of it. Hopefully everyone out there can, kind of follow that. But yeah, now they're saying, hey, the Apple App Store is too locked down, which I think a lot of people kind of know that going into the iOS ecosystem, everything is very locked down. Like, that's by design.
Yeah. I mean, it would be one thing if you'd be able to go to Epic's store and download the app and do your thing through there and have an iOS app that actually works well. But the fact that you have to stream through Apple's own gift shop on the way out, that's I think I guess legal issue.
Yeah, they actually did that on. They actually did that on Android. They took their app off of the Android ecosystem, and you go directly to the website and install the app through their website.
Yeah.
Apple will never let you do that.
No, I think that's monopolistic to create a large hardware ecosystem and then prevent. It's sort of the same thing as Amazon having its own shipping service, right? It's sidestepping all the other available shipping services to make things a little bit cheaper, which I can understand. But in a way, it's monopolistic in that vertical sort of stack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's unfair. It's unfair trade practice.
The consumer gets, essentially the same service either way, but from a legal standpoint, that's where the courts definitely need to step in, and looking forward to this.
It's not like you are stepping on like somebody's hard work necessarily all the time, right? This is middleman income or middle person income. This is the rite of passage through a wall. It's not like you're taking the cabbage out of a farmer's field and not paying them for it. So I have very little sympathy, in addition to the fact that Apple is such a huge corporation. It bothers me. Same goes with Google and well, not so much Google, but Amazon.
They hit $1 trillion, and then I want to say 18 months later hit $2 trillion. Yeah,
it's absurd. It's absurd, and people are going crazy right now because they're strapped, and there's $2 trillion sitting in Cupertino, and they're having this fight.
And of course, to be fair, that's in market capitalization, which is very different than cash. Although I will say,
they deserve it.
Apple with cash, I think Apple said that they have like $700 billion in cash that they can, investments that they can pull from. So yeah, I'm not really worried about Apple, and I'm also not really worried about Epic, because at one point they were earning a couple $billion a week. Yeah, exactly. But I do, and actually before I make this point about this article real quick, because again, that's kind of a whole background. Carissa, did you follow that? And Carissa, did you have anything to add to that?
I was following all that. I don't have anything to add.
Perfect. Okay, so the whole point of this article that we have here, though, is that Apple and whoever, and of course in the article they just say Apple claims and Apple says and Apple, so I don't have a specific spokesperson. But one thing just honesty in practice, I just want to say that one thing that they have here, Apple claims that interest in Fortnite has dropped nearly 70% from October to July. So less than a year, about 70% drop. And they said that that Epic is a saboteur, not a martyr, essentially saying that they're using this high-profile lawsuit as a way to spark interest in Fortnite again. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that, anyone who deals with video games, and I know Darius and Chris are both very familiar with video games, you have the hype, you have the initial launch, a lot of people are interested, and then it tapers off. People lose interest, they move on to something else. The hardcore player base will stick with it, and yeah, that is just how video games work. But the dishonest part I have here is how they actually got that. And I think they had it listed here. Let's see. They said that they got that from Google Analytics. That I'm trying to find exactly.
I almost feel like the drop in the number of people playing has to do with the fact that Apple took it off.
Well,
not the fact that it's declining. It's just the fact that people can't play it on that particular outlet.
And here was, kind of my thing was that they claimed that this was, the drop was because they looked at Google Analytics, and let's see, I think I can do this myself. Google Analytics, and I can type in Fortnite, which is what they did, which is a very simple thing. You can go to analytics.google.com and hit all the okay stuff. Oh my God, they just stole my birth certificate. They ask you for everything. But yeah, so they went there and they typed in Fortnite, and essentially they said that the Fortnite, when it first launched between, I guess, season 1, season 2, and they looked at the trends, Google Trends, not analytics, Google Trends, and they essentially said that interest has fallen by 70%, which I'm going to pull up here if you're watching the video portion. You can kind of see this chart right here in about past 12 months. So obviously you have this huge bump. This is when they first launched. Everyone was talking about them. Drake did an in-game performance and things like that. And now they're saying, oh, look at where they are now in July. I'm sure they cherry-picked the lowest number that they could. 100% relevancy all the way down to 30% relevancy. Their interest has, kind of fallen down. And my big point with this is that why would you, and I've seen this for World of Warcraft, and it's obviously how many people are going to, if they're looking up information on Fortnite, how many are going to go to Google and type in Fortnite and then parse through all the links, all the websites, all the people trying to make headlines, or how many people are going to go to the specific, Fortnite.com, or go to a subreddit dedicated to Fortnite, or have their own, their own favorite Kotaku or whatever, and get their Fortnite information from that. To say that more people Googled about Fortnite when it first came out, as opposed to a year later when people have their venues for information, when they know what the product is, it's yeah, a lot less people are going to Google Fortnite because a lot less people are ignorant to what Fortnite is. And for Google, and I'm sorry, for Apple to bring this into a conversation and say they're doing this because they're because they're losing interest, and they base it off of this information, that rubs me such the wrong way. I hate when they do that. That's my point. I don't know if anyone wants to respond to that, but
It makes sense.
It's to gauge, and this goes for everyone out there. If you do the exact same thing, shame on you. To gauge any kind of interest in a particular product based on Google Trends, I mean, it's just, hey, eventually people aren't going to go to Google and essentially start over a blank slate, start over from scratch to get information. No, eventually they're going to have, Darius, when you look for news, do you go to Google and type in news and, start plucking away, or do you have, Science Daily, for instance?
I actually go to news.google.com. I've got the app on my phone, so I get an aggregate from there, and then I just kind of branch out. I'll go to.
But you know what I mean. You don't just start with the key phrase news and then work out from there. You go to an aggregator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that was a complete aside, and that was Apple and Epic, and like we just said, one's $1 trillion company, one's $1 billion company, and let's face it, everyone listening to this is a regular consumer. So this doesn't really affect us. I think that hopefully we still get our games and we still get our devices and so on and so forth. Now,
that's
and
what really matters anyway.
Absolutely, and a little bit of feedback from you, Carissa. I don't know what that, like, I don't know if there's like a loose connection or something like that with your headset, but either way, one other thing I wanted to mention real quick, Amazon, I actually received an email from them about like a month ago saying, hey, we're going to put podcasts up on Amazon Music. We would like to include Computer America in the initial launch. And I said, yes, but they also said it's under embargo. So I wasn't allowed to talk about it, but now I am. No. Amazon Music has launched, is now incorporating podcasts, and Computer America can be heard through Amazon Music. So
awesome.
We'll get the link, and no effort was done. I want everyone to realize that I did nothing. So, congratulations can hold for later. But yeah, you can find it there. So there's that. Again, a little side. Now, the main thing I wanted to talk about, and did I already lose it in the series of links I had? I had let's see, Apple 2020 event Roundup. Now I have to go. Let's see. And I could have sworn I included a link to this, but I guess I didn't. Let's see. I apologize. I should be better at this. And yeah, Apple had a big event on Tuesday. Darius, did you pay attention to that at all?
Nope.
Nope, not at all. Okay. Well, very good. Better journalists than myself have put together this nice article from Engadget. We're going to kind of go topic by topic. And I think that, Carissa, you don't wear a wearable. Darius, do you have a wearable?
I have a watch, yeah.
Just a watch, so not a not a smartwatch.
It's an Apple.
Oh,
it's
an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually use a Fitbit, but yeah, it's not connected to. It's not like an Apple Watch or a Samsung.
Fitbits are still good. I'm the only one here that doesn't actually have a wearable. Then I will be the last to be tracked down and caught like a stray dog. But Apple. On Tuesday, they started the event by announcing the Watch Series 6, and from what I understand, they were one of the first devices to get the seal of approval from whatever association does medical devices, and essentially says that the latest Apple Watch can now accurately measure blood oxygen levels on like a continuous basis. So it's now almost like a fitness tracking thing, and almost like a, just a stylish wearable. But yeah, it looks like Apple's trying to, kind of move closer and closer to the medical support part of it as well. So, Darius, I don't know if you, kind of use all the health benefits and health tracking and things like that, but are you at all interested in like better monitoring of your vitals?
I don't know about EKG having that running. That creeps me out, but I do use it for the 4.5 minutes of cardio I do every 3 weeks.
There you go.
So it's good for that.
It's important to take stairs. Now, this other one that they have here, and actually this is probably a theme we're going to be seeing over the next year when it comes to Apple devices. I think we talked about on the show a little while ago when Apple said that they are going to break from Intel, and they are finally going to move to their own designed processors, CPUs in most of their devices. Mm-hmm. Like the first one was the Mac Pros, I believe, was the first place that they, kind of deviated from Intel. And it looks like this is another one where they have designed their own mobile processors that they said is more power efficient and charges up to 20 times faster. That's more the battery. But yeah, the S6 chip is going to be a lot faster and hopefully a lot more power efficient. So hey,
yeah, I mean, they know how to plug into their own hardware, so definitely. They're going to have an edge there, yeah.
Definitely. And it looks like Apple Watch SE, and if I'm not mistaken, the SE usually means that there's like a cheaper, cheaper material, easier, lower price to entry, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they should call it the PE, the plebeian edition.
The plebeian, yes. Well, for all you plebs out there you go. The Apple Watch Series 6 is $400, and the SE is going to be $280, which, I mean, hey, it's still Apple. I don't think anyone has ever said, "Wow, what a deal." No, people buy Apple because, Carissa, we were just talking about the AirPods. They're a status symbol.
Exactly.
Let's see. The next one, the Apple iPad Air, which, by the way, when it comes to creative tablets and things like that, and Darius, you work in the industry, so you might know better, but when it comes to tablets, is Apple still, Apple with, I know that for musicians, Apple used to be huge. Digital artists, musicians, things like that. Is the Apple ecosystem still very, very popular among?
Absolutely. The iPad Pro with the pencil is big with the visual artists for sure. iPad Air, the plebeian version of the iPads. I'm not sure they carry the same weight, but the Apple Pros or I should say, iPad Pros, are definitely really very popular.
Yeah, the iPad Pro, I think it's like a 12.9 inch, and let's see, that should be about like $1,300 or something like that. Actually, I have a link to it for from the Apple Store. And if you scroll all the way down their website, I'm sure it's somewhere at the bottom because they always like to hide the price. This thing is like $1,300 or something like that. But
for a tablet,
it doesn't come cheap.
Yeah,
no, it's more than what we expect from an iPad. It really, especially for visual artists, graphic design, illustrators, it's pretty powerful. I have to hand it to.
Yeah,
and it's elegant, and it works the way you think it should, which is one of the big things. That took me from the Samsung world in phone wise back to the iPhone world. Everything just they just redesigned the entire iPad OS not too long ago, like last year, and I've heard really good things about that. $1,300 sounds like a lot, but let's face it, you would get the iPad Air if you're just looking for a tablet, but an iPad Pro, that's an actual working if you're a
device.
professional, and your job depends on it. I really think that's the way you go.
And of course, everything comes with a payment plan. So there you go. They also updated the iPad, which is the entry level one. These started at about $300 as opposed to $600 for the iPad Air. And like we said, the iPad Pro is still a premium. Fitness Plus. I mean, this is, I think, Apple just trying to capitalize on the fact that no one can go to the gym without dying. So Fitness Plus, it's a great way to, kind of watch other people work out while you eat chips. Not my bag of tea. I don't know, Carissa, if you kind of work out at home or, kind of what anyone's here's routine is, but that's an industry that I think Peloton is just totally crushing it. And I've seen a lot of, good things about Peloton. And
who makes that mirror that you hang up on the wall?
I think it's called Mirror IO or something like that.
Mirror IO.
But that thing looks
Mirror Interactive
neat.
Fitness and Mirror.co, I think, is also the one. Yeah, you can see that there. I've been looking into doing that as like a DIY project. And if anyone is really bored, there's essentially you go to the store and you take any LED off of this, off the shelf, and you take off like most of the glass and the plastic on the front of it, and you essentially put that screen directly onto the back of a mirror, and it's able to kind of display it out. So there's like DIY's version of this, and you don't have to pay, let's see, 42 times 36. 42 times 36, if anyone can do this faster.
Like $1 million.
Yeah, about $1 million or about $1,500 for that mirror. You could probably do it yourself for probably about $500 or $600 and some.
I gotta say, one of my little TVs, LCD or LED, kind of broke down. I unplugged it, took it apart. I was checking out the PCB on it, and I super burned my thumb on a capacitor that went off. Even when it's unplugged, it had some serious high voltage. So be careful.
Yeah.
Do it if you know what you're doing. Cause
definitely.
my thumb off. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad that you kept all three. That's you definitely need those.
Love all three of my thumbs.
Yeah, it's so yeah. There you go. And so, anyways, Apple Fitness, they're trying to do it, and I think they also talked about, although it's not really included here. No, I'm sorry, Apple One. That's the other one. Apple One, which is they say competitive against Amazon Prime, but. The only reason they say that is because you get so many perks with Amazon Prime, including music and TV and shows and that kind of thing.
Free shipping.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the one thing that Apple One doesn't include, because Apple doesn't ship anything unless you, of course, buy one of the things. But anyways, Apple One will include everything: arcade, music, Apple TV Plus, 50 gigs of cloud storage, and all that for about $15 a month. And then, of course, there's other tiers. I think the highest tier includes Apple News, Fitness, and 2 terabytes of cloud storage. For $30, I mean, I think some places... Yeah, I
don't know. Google Drive, $10, 2 terabytes.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, that is probably what most people would be familiar with, in $10, but $30 including all of that. For Apple services,
not a bad deal, I guess. Yeah.
For Apple services, it makes sense to get the bundle. For a lot of people out there, I don't know. A lot of these seem superfluous, but let's face it. Apple has said over the past few financial report earnings that they're not really making money on selling phones or hardware anymore. They're making money on squeezing Epic for 30%. Yeah, services. That's how they make their money, so they're trying to come out with even more services. And last but not least, in the coming weeks, I think early October they said, or no. September 26th, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. iOS 14 should be coming to everyone. So, yeah, that's a quick Apple rundown. Again, I did not really see the event, but after seeing this fabulous write-up on Engadget, I think it was one worth missing. Let's face it, COVID has put so many projects behind. The really exciting stuff just really isn't there. And hey, let's face it, Apple doesn't really do exciting anymore. They do predictable. So that's Apple. Okay, now moving on. Next series of topics, and this is new hardware. Some of the stuff maybe like a week or two old, and for everyone out there, forgive me, Darius. I'm hoping that you did watch the Nvidia Keynote where they announced the 3000 series of graphics cards.
I did watch a little bit of that. I did, actually.
It was so charming. And I just got to say that one of my favorite parts, and I told Chris about this, was that, the CEO of NVIDIA was there in his kitchen, very, Tuscan inspired, obviously. It was very lovely kitchen. But I liked how he would talk about, this is the new NVIDIA RTX 3080, and he just kind of reached behind his utensil holder, and it was right there in the back of the screen the entire time, and he just kind of pulled it out and showed everyone, and it was right there. And then when he talked about the RTX 3090, he reached into the oven and he had it sitting in the oven and right there. Production value was off the charts. But it was still very cool, and hopefully, Darius, you had a chance to look at some of the hardware, so I wanted to talk new graphics cards that, let's see, if I'm not mistaken, should be coming out in a week or two, if they're not already available. I know that a lot of publications have already gotten kind of the pre-release of it, but these should be available to the public September 24th. There we go. So,
which is right around the corner.
And I'm sorry, the RTX 3080 is available tomorrow, and the 3090 is available September 24th. So, did you get a chance to look at any of these?
I have. I mean, not in person. I don't have these cards, but I would love to. And NVIDIA, please call me. The 3080 has caused a little bit of a storm because 2080 Ti owners paid a lot more for half of the purported power in the 3080. So a lot of people are a little bit upset who have just bought one, and there's a little bit of a panic sale going on with old 2000 level cards. So, tempted.
This is, and yeah, sorry to cut you off here, but this is one of those things that it's like, you should do your due diligence. And I get that some people don't really have a choice. Some people, their computer breaks, they have to get a new one.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, buying the next buying an Xbox Series S, and then hearing that the new Xbox will be out in a couple months for the holidays. This is just what every informed consumer. There was even a commercial a long time ago that was poking fun of that people were like walking out of the store with the latest phone in their hand, and then they look up at the billboard and they're like already advertising the next one. This happens all the time. Like, this is a tale as old as tech.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to know. Sometimes you don't have the time. You just want to buy a graphics card and be done with it. So the 2080 Ti's, I mean, it's a good card. Well, the 2080 Ti is still a good card, so I hope people aren't too upset about that. But yeah, the 3080, at least on paper and what they say it's going to be able to pull off is great, and that it's a second generation ray tracing is going to make it more capable in the end of handling ray tracing, which we've always talked about being something that's the next thing in graphics to go mainstream.
Now, with improved hardware, and I think that they said this is going to be like a rare perfect storm of an upgrade cycle for Nvidia, in that they're changing architecture. So before it was like Pascal and something even before that, they're changing it to is Navi AMD? I think Navi's AMD.
Yes.
They're
correct. Changing
it to Ampere. That's the new one. So they're going from like Pascal to Ampere. Yep. And so it's not just like an inter-card bump, but it's also an architecture bump, which we saw with going from the 980s and whatever to the 1080s. It was a very, very big increase, but now we have this kind of going on with with a new series of cards and a new architecture bump, which again you saw that huge increase. 3080 for, I think they said it's coming in at like $600. I know that like the Founders Edition is going to be $800, but for $600 and for doing something that a 900 card is doing right now, that's super good for consumers. Like, ignoring the people who are mad, for everyone else, this blew me out of the water. I did not think Nvidia would be able to hit that price point at all.
Yeah. It's
because their trend lately,
it's good to see. Yeah,
their trend lately is increase it by 100 every cycle. I would have not been surprised if the mid range would have hit $700 or $800 or $900. Instead, they took it down by 100, and a lot of people credited that to AMD, and AMD putting so much pressure on keeping the price low and the performance high.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to see the two top and the two mid-range cards fight it out between Navi and Ampere and see what they do in real-world usage. And it's been a long time since I've done that sort of personal testing, but I'm super curious about it in the ray tracing space, and so I may try to make that happen, and then obviously let you know how it goes.
Definitely. And I just got to say, from a personal standpoint, it's been, I'm still just running the singular, like the first Titan, whatever series, the Titan, I'm sorry, not even, wait, am I running the XP? I might have the Nvidia Titan XP, and it served me well. It's about 5 years old now. This, I think, is going to be in my next system is going to be a 3090. So, not a 3080, but a 3090. I'm looking forward to it. This is, I think, the upgrade cycle. If anyone out there has been waiting for kind of the next upgrade cycle, as far as graphics cards go, this is probably the one.
This is it. Yeah.
CPUs are still kind of up in the air, but graphics cards wise, this seems to be it.
Yeah, I kind of want to wait until Intel hits the next die size reliably on mass production. But yeah, graphic card wise, we were kind of iffy on the RTX 20 series, but this second generation 30 series, it's a good time to jump in at these prices too.
Yeah. So one thing that people were and it's like every headline is like 4K 60 FPS gaming. Like that seems to be the thing. It's almost like I don't know, ray tracing and RTX are just kind of like a feature, and now it's more about 4K gaming. I know that you have said that 4K is not as important as real-time RTX, but let's face it, 4K monitors and 4K TVs, they're there, and I think people just want to be able to utilize them properly, and this seems to be, as they claim, one of the first graphics cards that can do that reliably or semi-reliably.
Yeah, I'm looking hard at that card too.
Yeah, it's and that's the 3080 that promises to do that. The 3090 is even kind of even more powerful. So there's that, and I'm trying to think off of the top of my head where Nvidia has promised a lot with these, and I'm trying to think with the 3090, the performance increase is like, in some cases they use Doom Eternal as an example. If anyone has ever seen gameplay of Doom Eternal, they had that at 4K, and they had that at kind of uncapped frame rate. They were actually able to keep that at like about 200 frames per second, and it dipped on like the really intensive stuff down to like 90 FPS. But they were able to do 4K on a 3090 at like 180, I think was the end average. Pretty incredible, and I think that's going to serve it very well for VR and a lot of other things that we've been promised for quite a while now. This seems to be it.
Yeah.
So looking through some of these, and of course there was the 3070. The 3070, I'm trying to think. The 3070 they claimed is going to be as good as the old 1080, but like even better, and it's like $300 or something like that. If you're looking for like an entry card, I know that $300 is still a lot for an entry level card, but it's at least competitive with AMD. It may not be better than AMD at that price point, but it's competitive. So there's that. RTX again, $1,500. Are you afraid of that price point? Because again, that's something that's the Founders Edition 3090, top of the prosumer line. You deal with graphics cards that are made for a different market and are much more expensive, but from a consumer standpoint, does $1,500 scare you?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, unless the Founders Edition brings that much more performance gain or other such like day-to-day benefit, I think I would wait for the non-Founders Edition. I think 3090 is a great card. The 80, I mean, if you can swing it, that's the one to go for.
Yeah,
for sure. But if you got, a little extra cash in your pocket, 3090, like you're considering.
A lot of extra cash at almost twice the price. But it's looking at this here, and I just saw what I want to see. They nicknamed it the BF GPU, which I think is a great thing to name. The big powerful whatever GPU. I know what it sounds like, but it's not really. I want it. I don't know what else to say about this. I want the 3090, and it will probably be built into my next system. So let's see, they have DisplayPort, 1.4a output, HDMI 2.1, so both of the latest standards offered by DisplayPort and HDMI. And after, we had DisplayPort on the show not too long ago, and they're actually working to fully support all HDMI standards. I think the DisplayPort is going to be kind of the winner when this all settles out. I know it's not a very sexy topic to talk about, kind of ports, but yeah, lots of DisplayPorts, lots of HDMI. Good stuff. Yeah, that's about all I got. So 3000 series, I mean, they hit great price points. The power's there. I don't think AMD is going to be able to compete. AMD's announcements are middle of or beginning of October. I want to say like October 8th. So next time you're on, Darius, we will have AMD's hardware as well. And obviously for the holiday lineup, assuming COVID doesn't, kind of get rid of that as well. Yeah, we're going to be able to more accurately compare AMD and Nvidia to one another. So there you go. Oh, good. Yeah, and actually here's the announcement. We'll throw this up in the show notes. October 8th for CPUs and October 28th for GPUs. So actually, you'll be around for the CPUs. But yeah, I think where AMD is really going to shine is the CPUs, because Intel is in a little bit of turmoil at the moment. I hope that they get out of that real soon, because yeah, I've always been a fan. Let's see, we have plenty of time to get through a number of these articles coming up. Consoles, I know that that's not really anyone here's thing, but we should at least mention it. Since you were last on, Darius, they have announced the Xbox Series X and the S. One looks like a fridge, one looks like a speaker. Both of them are still gaming consoles. And they're pretty powerful, I think the Xbox Series X comes in at like $500, I think was the price point for the Xbox Series X. And they promised 4K 60 FPS, whereas the Series S will have no optical drive, and it will be 1440p with 60 FPS. So this is the first time we've seen consoles that are very clearly, one is very clearly better than the other. So.
Yeah, very clearly. But it all comes down to games, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so far they've said that anything available on the Xbox Series X will also be available on the S. So there will not be, anything exclusive for the X. And as long as they hold to that, that's going to be very, very important. But there's also the question of, can they actually hit 4K at 4K at 60 frames per second? Because they're saying that, for Nvidia and the graphics cards in particular, the 3080 was like the first card that everyone says it's finally possible. 4K, 60 FPS, we've done it. That card is, again, selling for about $800. The Series X sells for $500. It's $300 cheaper, and it has everything in it, including a processor and a graphics card and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I feel like they might be overselling it just a little bit.
I actually have a question about this thing, because did you say it didn't have an optical drive, one of them?
Yes, the Series S, if you're watching the video portion, you can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
It looks like a speaker, one of those old ones that you used to clip onto your car and drive in movie theaters and stuff like that. Yeah, no CDs. You have to digitally download everything. There is a USB port for an external hard drive, but yeah, you have to download every game that you want to play onto your hard drive before you can play it.
Gotcha. I thought it was more like a graphics card when you said optical drive, because when I hear that, I think CD drive. I'm like, okay, CD drive. I didn't realize the optical was the same as the CD.
Yes,
got it.
Yes. There's no CD drive, DVD drive, Blu-ray drive. There's no any kind of physical media. You have to download it. And again, the base console only holds on average about 12 video games. So if you like to play a lot of different games, you're gonna have to start deleting some games and reinstalling some games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not the best solution, but I mean, how many people really play more than 12 games at a time? So, I don't know.
You've never met my son, who seems to pick up a new video game every 3 days.
Really? I thought you
I
two
do that
were
too. I just never get around to play them.
Yeah, Steam Summer Sale. I'm sure that a lot of people have purchased a lot of video games that they don't. Actually, fun side note about a game. Darius, you might know this one. Chris, I don't think you would. But Darius, have you ever heard of a game called Majesty?
I have heard of Majesty. Yeah, I haven't.
Way back in the day,
I think I've
2000.
Played it.
2000.
Yeah.
I actually found out that it was included in one of my many game libraries. Like I have different services and they give me games for free. Turns out I actually had it, and I remember playing it when I was a kid, and I started playing it again. I'm about like 70% of the way through. Holds up so well. And
wow.
Well, and I say holds up so well, but like I have one of those ultra wide monitors, and the game actually glitched out. Like, I have to play the game in 800 by 600 resolution, otherwise the game physically does not work. But it's a lot of fun, and you know, playing some of those old games, like, old games are just as fun as new games. That's really what I'm finding out lately, is that, you know, hey, good games are forever. So
yeah, I want to get my hands on a way to play Ultima, the Ultima series, back from the like 80s, 90s. I don't know, that might be getting an emulator or something, but that's old school.
They have like Ultima Forever, which looks like a kind of revamped 2013. Ultima 8 came out in 1994. Ultima Online 97. Yeah, those are early 90s, and looks like, you know, a lot of text-based and, you know, kind of dungeon crawl, things like that. It's
this is the game I was talking about, is Ultima 4. Quest of the Avatar came out in the mid
85.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
that's when I had my own first PC. It was an Apple IIc compatible, a Laser 128, had 128K of memory on it, and that's 3 times what I had. Yeah.
You must have been the talk of the neighborhood to have that and play that. And really, you know, I kind of joke about it, but some of my favorite arcade games are from kind of like that era, and you know, that's when graphics finally became graphics, and you know, it wasn't all just text based and that kind of thing. So yeah, okay, perfect deviation. Let's go ahead. So Xbox Series X, that should be coming out this season, and PlayStation 5 has already been announced. I'm trying to think, did the PlayStation 5... Yeah, the PlayStation 5 had something similar, where they had one without an optical drive, but they kind of kept the hardware specs the same. It's just kind of like, do you want the slim one or the non-slim one? So yeah, this holiday season, we're going to have new graphics cards for PC enthusiasts. We're going to have new consoles for console enthusiasts. Lots of video games, because I think video games are one of the few industries that were able to put out new content during COVID. It's a great time to be into video games. This holiday is going to be something to remember. So there you go. Okay. We have now the next segment, which is like mixed bag, just stories that I found interesting that I wanted to, just kind of talk about as well. And actually not the Amazon Music podcast one, because we already talked about that a little bit. One thing that I think we could talk about, and just real quick, Carissa, without saying the name of your provider, how fast is your internet speed?
Not fast enough.
Not fast enough.
I would say it's probably mid-range.
Okay. And Darius, I'm sure that you pay for the best you can get, but do you know how fast the best you can get is?
Well, the best you can get around here is probably gigabit. I've got 400 down and I think 30 up.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, very respectable.
Not very expensive.
Doesn't touch Google Fiber's new plan at $100 for 2 gigabits per second. And think about this: Google Fiber. I'm gonna say that was like 2014 or something like that when it was first started to be released in certain towns. And here we are, like less than 5 years later, or like 5 years later, and you're looking at 2 gigs, like double the speed. Where many people, I think last I checked, the average for America was about 50 gigabits per second, or 50 megabits per second download speed. Yeah, this thing is, what is that? 40 times faster. 40 times faster than the average internet speed. And of course, with that, you also get a Wi-Fi 6 router and a mesh extender. Yeah, I just wanted to share this with everyone to make them drool. Wish that they lived in a place that had Google Fiber. And let me tell you, I wish I lived in a place that had Google Fiber as well. So
where are they rolling this out at anyway?
So here we go. Where, when, how to sign up. Details are vague because that's Google. They don't. Google Fiber was like this huge promise, and boy, did it fizzle out. But let's just say that they're hoping to test it in Nashville and Huntsville in the next month, and also with Google Fiber Cities later this fall. Game changers, super users, and families who need more from the internet can join the tester program and be put on a list to get it first. Yeah, so Nashville and Huntsville, Tennessee will get it later this year, and then other people will get it in early 2021. So
prove it, Google. Prove it.
Yeah,
Like
Google Fibers was one of these promises that it was like they were going to be the thing that was going to spur innovation and competition and make everyone step up their game. They might have if they were able to get it into more cities than just like one city. So,
right.
There you go. Okay, so there's that story. I wanted to, just kind of blue sky with everyone. Darius, real quick. Carissa, real quick. What are your feelings on virtual reality?
I think it's super great, and I think there's a lot of potential for it for even other things outside of entertainment, like therapy and things like that. So I think there's a lot of
that is unfortunate because virtual reality has been out for a number of years, and to hear you say it's full of potential, man, I wish that after years of being on the market, it was actually a thing and not just potential. So, but yeah, you're right, it has other applications as well. Darius, real quick, what are your feelings on VR?
I don't think it's the next great big thing like everybody says 3D wise, but it has a lot of potential in niche markets, education markets, medical fields, visualization. So commercially, I think it's a very powerful tool. Yeah. But it's easy to send content like a show to a huge audience because everybody's got a screen. Mm-hmm. But not everybody's got a VR headset, and not everybody kind of wants to get one either. So it's limited in the consumer end of things, I think. There's just not enough demand for content in the way there is for like TV.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it's a big part of it is, of course, like you said, getting it into people's hands. And the fact that, up until I would say about the 1080s was when we were first starting to talk about VR and, having the 1000 series of graphics cards. They were like the first ones to run VR. I clearly remember VR ready desktops being sold everywhere. Graphics cards that actually can run VR, they still are way outnumbered by just every other graphics card that can do everything else. So it's still a niche market. It's very small, but it's growing. And one example, if you're watching the video portion, you can see it there. Facebook has come out with the Infinite Office. So this is someone who is using virtual reality to actually kind of take their desktop, and this is really what it looks like. It looks like someone's streaming a desktop on their computer anywhere that they happen to be. And then the background image is, there's a lady there sitting at the table kind of, checking up on her emails and messages. And right there, very, very almost like Predator Vision-esque, from sci-fi movies. They're able to see the actual world. I guess they have like a camera built into it so you can see, the world around you. And yeah, they're superimposing the virtual office. They're superimposing the virtual office over a video feed of what you would see if you didn't have the goggles on. That's a pretty interesting take, or kind of adaptation for a headset, because originally a headset completely blocks you off from the outside world, and this one kind of more just overlays it.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to go. AR. I guess.
Right.
It's AR with a VR headset, though. That's I guess the big thing. So it's kind of doing both.
I don't know about having that thing on my face for a long time. I'm in front of my screen a lot. I do a lot of Zoom recordings, and just wearing cans on my ears gets tiring after a while. But having that thing on my head, I don't know. But if it were glasses based, if it was a little less intrusive on my face, I've been talking about having virtual desktops, probably in articles at least 10 years old. I think that's good. It's a good thing. Bring it forward. And you saw Tom Cruise dealing with that in what was that movie? Minority Report,
Yeah.
Where he's interacting with
with the gloves.
That is a healthier way to go, I think.
Yeah. And I gotta say that even, you know, I'm just kind of watching the video out of the side of my eye, and I noticed that obviously they say here screen images are simulated, and right about here, you know, if you can kind of see my mouse down here, you can kind of see the images right there. Very, very subtle, but I noticed it. You can kind of see the images kind of snap together, where obviously they're using multiple cameras and they're stitching the image together in front of you. And if they can't get it right in the promo video, I think that the actual user experience, you know, where they even said in the video, you know, the images that you see are simulated, it's pre-rendered, this is not real time, and this is not really what, you know, you're going to be seeing. I think the technology has a ways to go, but they're trying to say that, you know, virtual reality headsets do have productivity uses beyond just video games and movies and, you know,
absolutely.
Just, little things.
And they're honestly the first and best step towards the Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, a step even beyond the Matrix, because, you know, like we were saying when we talked about this the first time, it doesn't have that giant plug hanging out the back of your head. These are completely wireless.
Less intrusive.
Yes, less intrusive, you know, more freedom, more freeing, and again, wireless, so everything is streamed off of your computer. So there's that one, and hey, we'll certainly talk about virtual reality, I'm sure, more in the future. Again, hey, music in the background. We had a couple stories we didn't get to, but that's okay. Darius, I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Our pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we hope that things calm down a lot over there on the West Coast. And of course, everyone stay safe. Whereas, well, Carissa, we're done. And yeah, I hope... Carissa, do you think it was a good show?
So, had a lot of good topics, a lot of good discussion.
Good. That's what we pay you for. You have to say it's a good show. So, Darius, Carissa, everyone else out there, thank you so much for coming on Computer America, and thank you for listening to Computer America. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Tune in tomorrow for NordPass. Yep, the glamorous topic of password managers. Everyone, catch you next time.
See ya.